Hello, family. Welcome to Panafricentric ministries. This is Brother Jamala, also known as Brother Soldier. And lately, we've been talking about topics dealing with self-hatred and self-love. Topic 3 was one of our last topics. It had two parts about self-love, and I'm giving an overview about it because I like to recap on things because new things come every day. You could read something in scripture, you can read something in a book, and you always get something new. So I think that when we last left off, I mentioned that we were going into strong character, Black African sense of strength and character. Now, prior to that, I think I'm feeling led to I don't want to leave you hanging on the self-hatred, self-love topic. So we want to talk about some things, give you a basic sheet of ingredients or a prescription on how to start combating some of the self-hatred with things that are positively reinforced as self-love, things that bring and cause self-love to flourish. Now, we're going to just wrap. I'm not going to necessarily go into the next lesson. I just want to kind of summarize a little from some things from the lessons we've already had, and then maybe I'll just gradually move into strength of character. But a lot of the things we talked about that were negative, like self-hatred, is very detrimental to African sense of self-esteem. And I said, particularly our little ones that are coming up, we want to try to give them a fair shake at life by introducing them early to the beauty and pride of their culture, their heritage, their ancestry, their race, the continent they live on, being Africa, and whether Africa or the diaspora, but give them a sense of pride in Africa. And then when negative things come into their life or things, images that are negative, they will know how to discern and know that that is basically criticisms against them as a person, and it won't necessarily work its way into their psyche, into their subconscious, and become depressing and fulfilling that self-hatred that we're trying to eliminate. So the the last thing that I discussed is I keep going back to this story about Obadiah because it shows how even brothers and tribes go against each other. And I think I wanted to say, I want to just keep driving this home, but I wanted to say that as far as what we've read about the judgment of God going to avenge the situation and take reproach against the Edomites and the ones that went against Jacob, the way that I read the story, it's the heart condition of the Edomites, and the treachery is, I believe, is why the Lord said He would wipe them out, because even when they were stumbling under the attacks of the enemy, the brother, as I said, kicked them while it was down. And not only that, the prophet Obadiah said, if a thief enters your house, does he not take what he wants and then he goes and you can live the rest of your life? He doesn't just take everything from you. Doesn't he leave something? And he was basically saying the way the Edomites came after Judah or Jacob, he said that they just took everything. It was just like it was very personal. And I think God, a lot of times, the God of history weighs things based on our heart, the condition of our heart. And that's the same way He's going to deal with us in the way we deal with our brother today. If you sell your brother out, no matter what the case may be, He's going to look at the heart on that. And that's going to get you into the areas of judgment, and that you won't have a say when we make our transition over into the next life. Now, I'm one of the believers. I believe in all of that. I have my reasons for it, not because somebody just told me, but because of the way God has been dealing with me. There's some things that we're going to get into that are going to probably enlighten you. There's some things that are going to cause you to wonder, but we're all in here to make it. We're all in here trying to make something better of our lives. So I just thought I'd need to say that. But anyway, I don't want to waste a lot of time with that. But let's see what we have here today. We know that the main commandment is the golden rule, do unto others as you would have us do unto ourselves. And we also know the opposite of that is never allow anyone to do to you what you wouldn't do to yourself or to someone else. A lot of times as Christians, we've been duped historically by wolves that have come in and taught us wrong about how we're supposed to be as Christians, as though almost we have to be a doormat where somebody can just walk over us and do what they want. We're supposed to forgive them over and over and over again, 70 times 7. And I think the message that Christ was trying to drive to us about 70 times 7 is that you always want to have a heart of forgiveness, but at the same time, the just side of God and the discipline side of God and the judgment side and the justice side is a part that they don't seem to give the slave descendants or give the people of African descent, that part of Christianity that says, I won't allow you to do wrong to my brother, or allow you to do wrong to me or my nation. That type of Christianity is the part we hardly hear about. And it's amazing that other religions look at Christianity as pious and very passive, and a message, a gospel that fattens you up as a sheep for the wolf, for the kill, just fatten you up for the kill. And I don't like that being the way that we're viewed. But to each his own. So I have learned through personal experiences of growing up as a young boy, growing into manhood, that I've had to face certain situations almost like David and Goliath, where I've had to toe-to-toe stand up, and defend myself against an institution that I felt was trying to crush me. And through those experiences, there have been very many experiences, through those experiences I've learned the other side of Christianity that what I'm talking about, they hardly talk about. So anyway, that's what makes it important for us to have a platform like this. So anyway, in this sense, we're going to say a little bit about the things that can get us to groom our little ones for love so that they can be the people that run and lead the nation tomorrow. And those of you that are older today, maybe you can shape up, we can get ourselves together as well. So broadening the knowledge base of our Black youth is kind of what I talked about in the intro of this platform. For critical identity issues that counter the things that we mentioned earlier about our identity, and that inferior mindset and that self-hatred that may seep up in us, younger children must become acquainted with reading materials at home, if not at school, that reflect their African history and culture. The African presence in the Bible must be emphasized to prevent racial inferiority from entering their psyche as they learn to become oriented in their faith. This should begin very early in their lives, 2 to 3 years of age. And it is said that a child by the age of 3 can identify racial differences and ethnic groups. By age 5, most can identify racial differences correctly. Now, that comes from a human development book by J. Vander Zanden, 1985. Children should be oriented in the beginning, reading materials that discuss African history, agriculture, nation building. As the youth mature, advanced forms of the same topics should follow about racial pride and beauty. Black youth must readily identify with black persons in authority, particularly in the diaspora. Especially those who teach love and of self and Afrocentric curriculums. For those parents who have been trained and indoctrinated to have a negative view of Africa and their problems, I would suggest that you read a book called No More Lies by Chief M, as in Mary, Nangoli, Nangoli. He talks a lot about dispelling the negativity of Africa. Black family structure of male-female roles should be required subjects. Study all easily understood social movements where revolutionary movements have happened, their successes and their failures. There must be a focus on forms of government, such as what does capitalism bring, what does socialism bring, and they need to know about communism. They need to know about the different forms of government. Racism and sexism, as they get older, you could probably move on that with caution because it's so complex, but those are issues that eventually you're going to have to know. They can go to workshops about strategies that were used in the past by Europeans to colonize Africans and strategies that were used by Europeans to enslave Africa. They need to know how those strategies worked on the slave plantations and in the colonized territories, and how those conditions parallel or relate to present day society. Religion and employment issues need to be discussed in a non-biased way. Eventually, in middle school, the children should be able to deal with the sexuality, gender, and gender-segregated classes, I would suggest. African manhood and womanhood should enter your school setting, and if not in the school, it needs to be at home. The responsibilities of these roles and how they complement each other. Black youth should learn about immigration, migration, peaceful migration. They should know the process of acquiring dual citizenship. They should know their African history, beginning with Ethiopian and Egyptian empires. This is very crucial. I think I can't stress that. I mean that is very important. When a black boy is taught that he comes from a nation of kings and queens, and that his people developed some of the first schools, religions, libraries, medical research, science, mathematics, then he has something for which he can believe and live and fight for. He has an idea of self that he can be proud of, or she could be proud of, and see the world through that idea itself. In other words, when they know these things that have been done by their people, that's what you call being conscious of what Africans do, and that forms the Afrocentric mindset view, how you view the world. You don't want to view the world through the lens of another nation, like European. You don't want to view the world through that lens, because that's why you will negatively look at your own people. Now, I've said enough. My time is up. I'm going to continue part 2 of this prescription, and hopefully you can get the meaning of some of these things I'm saying. I will give you some reading materials or some references to some very good books. Anyway, God bless. Thank you for joining us. Peace.